Today I'll show you just how hard it is to get a good poker hand. Deal 5 cards straight from the top. King high, not very good. Let's try a different way. Let's take the cards at random. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What do we got? Not bad. 10s and 9s. That's about an average hand that wins a pot, but it's by no means a certainty, and certainly it's not going to win a big pot. So let's try it a different way. Let's try by dealing out the hands. If you have card sense, you'll realize immediately that whether you deal out the hand or you take them from the top or take them from random spots, it's always going to be the same chance of having a good hand. Let's see what I got this time. Pair of 8s and 3s, 2 pair again. Not bad, a little bit below average for winning a pot. Nothing spectacular, and again, it's not going to win a big pot because you can't back a hand like this for a big pot. And you also have to consider that the loser would have something weaker, and he's not going to back his hand for a big pot with something weaker. So this kind of reminds me of cheating. When you're cheating, you want to give the mark a good hand, and of course the winner a good hand. And that's precisely what happened. Doc was seated right here, and his partner was seated right there. His partner's name was Splice. The day before, Doc had met Splice, showed Splice that he could switch in a cooler at any time, invisibly. No one could possibly see it because after all, he was the best in the world. The only problem was Doc knew of a game the following night for a $10,000 buy-in after hours at the cafe. Doc's money was tied up in investments and could only come up with $5,000. That's where Splice comes in. Splice was going to back Doc for the other 5. Doc, being a professional cheater, said, well, you know, it's not really that great of an idea to deal yourself the winning hand. You want to divert suspicion. Give it to someone else. That's again where Splice comes in. Splice is going to be dealt the winning hand. And of course, Splice would have to buy in for an additional 10 grand. And that was perfect because Splice's bankroll was $15,000. So he bought himself in for 10 and gave Doc the other 5. So that's where we pick up the story. Now let's see what happens. Of course, in this game, the cards were shuffled, the cards were cut, and then Doc switched in the cooler. You didn't see anything because Doc was the best in the world. Splice is seated right here, and Doc is right here. He told Splice he'd give him aces over 8s, aces full. So he knew what the winning hand would be, plus Doc gave him the signal. 3 aces and 2 8s. That's what Splice is going to get. So Splice knew to back that hand. Back it to the max. So maybe you're wondering what the sucker held. Well, you're looking at it. Splice is the sucker. Let me explain. Doc's real partner is Mint. Mint sitting right here. Doc and Mint are professional hustlers. They don't work with amateurs. Amateurs get you booked. Amateurs get you killed. Amateurs might throw their car keys on the table and hop out the window. Pros work with pros. Mint, being a professional gambler, knowing the fine points of strategy, has systematically been breaking down Mikey and Silver King. They're now short-stacked. The only real money in the game is Splice's. So Doc and Mint are now going to bust Splice. That's why Doc dealt Mint the 4 jacks. Splice's face turned, of course, as white as a ghost, but Doc pretended just to be as shocked. And remember, Doc lost 5 grand of his own money. Well, that's what Splice thinks. After this game, Mint started calling Doc Hollywood because his performance was perfect. He became known as Hollywood Doc. And that's my story of a cold deck. Motherfucker.